All praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, HaKadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. I want to do a quick thing on fasting. Let's see what we can get from the Bible. I'm kind of going off the cuff here. I've got a couple of precepts in my mind, but I want to do a quick search. I know one thing that comes to my mind, which is that when you're fasting or when you're putting yourself through, discomfort, in order to increase your faith, because what it does, let's get some scriptures first of all. Psalm 69:10, when I wept and chastened my soul with fasting. Now, what we do when we chasten something so they're better, that they be, so that someone may improve the way that they behave. So we chasten our souls with fasting to make ourselves stronger, to increase our faith, to stop ourselves from relying too much on the carnal, and make our eye point towards, make the eye point towards the spiritual. And it says, if your eye be single, let me get that real quick. So I'll be, is it eye be single? The light of the body, Matthew 6:22, the light of the body is in the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. That's to say that if you are constant, like your whole, because I've got a little bit of an issue where half of me is thinking, oh, I want to make paper, and half of me is thinking about the kingdom, and that, and those two things are often, now my mind and my heart is set on the kingdom. Don't get me wrong, but every so often I'll be like, oh, I would like to have a big car or something. I'd like to have a big home, you know what I mean? So sometimes I kind of like be hurting on that. But the idea is that we fast, and when we fast, we chasten our soul, and we make ourselves look more at the spiritual than on the material and the carnal. And if your eye be single, that is what he's saying there. It's not if your eye ain't dating, or if you've got one eye. No, if you're looking only in one direction, if you're not distracted, if you're by the the carnal or the things of this world, then your whole body is full of light, meaning that your body is full of spirit, your body is full of blessings, your body is full of truth, your body is full of wisdom and understanding. Let's go back. But that's not what I was. Let's get to fasting. Let's see what else they said. Psalm 35. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into mine own bosom. But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled myself with fasting. This sounds like a really good one, actually. And my prayer returned into my own bosom. Let's get some. They rewarded me good for evil, to the spoiling of my soul. But as for me, when they were sick, my clothing was sackcloth. I humbled my soul with fasting, and my prayer returned into mine own bosom. So, fasting is also good for humbling the soul. Let's carry on. I chastened my soul with fasting. That was to my reproach. My knees are weak through fasting, my flesh faileth of fatness. Jeremiah, therefore go thou and read in the roll which thou hast written from my mouth the words of the Lord in the ears of the people in the Lord's house upon the fasting day. And also that will be the day of atonement. And also thou shalt read them in the ears of all Judah that come out of their cities. And the king went to his place and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went for him. So when things go wrong, like sometimes I think I remember Elder Apostle Tahar talking about, you know, in some this episode of this 1950s film called Bewitched, where this woman gets a curse upon her and she don't want to move or do anything, right? So a lot of the time, like you can have things on you, you can have demons on you, whatever, and then you can't really operate. Things are always going wrong around you, and so a lot of the time what you can see in the scriptures is that when things go wrong for people, they're looking at themselves and saying like, maybe I got something on me, I got some kind of spirit on me, I've got some kind of vibe, not vibe, but curse on me or some demon on me, and I need to go into fasting. Joel, and also that brings us close. Obviously, when we bring ourselves closer to fasting, we make our eye be single. We chasing our eye for wandering this way and that way, and we focus it purely on the spiritual, and then our body is full of light, and then where there is light there cannot darkness and light cannot inhabit the same space, right? So anything that's on you is going to fall off, and that's a scripture, 15:32. Was that 15? Then Yahushua called his disciples unto him and said, I have compassion on the multitude, because they continue with me now the 3 days and have nothing to eat, and I will not send them away fasting. That's not what I was. No, this is what Matthew 17:21. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Like darkness cannot inhabit the same space as light. So if you've got any issues going on, if you're struggling to break an addiction, or if you're finding that you're not on fire as much, it's usually down to the fact that your eye is being pulled about this way and that, and we've got so much distractions in this time, in this place, with technology and internet and social media and this and that, and people saying how much money they got and flashing it in your face. So I understand it's hard to keep that eye single, but if you want to kick yourself back into gear, like when you I think Elder Apostle Tahar was also talking recently about Muhammad Ali, and how he used to like come out of training and start eating cakes and pancakes and get fat, and then have to kick himself back into um into gear, and prepare for a fight and break down his body. But that's not really the way we should be doing. We shouldn't be like yo-yoing up and down in our strength. We should be constantly going up. But every so often we need to kick ourselves back into gear and make sure relight that candle, make sure or relight that fire, make sure it's burning hot. Um, and fasting is a good way to do it. Let's see. And Mark, and he said unto them, this kind can come forth by nothing but by prayer and fasting. And Cornelius said, 4 days I was fasting until this hour, and the ninth hour I prayed in my house, and behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing. So when people, even in the ancient times, they knew that, you go into fasting to kick yourself into give yourself a spiritual boost. And I'm going to end on this scripture. Defraud ye not one another, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may be yourself give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your inconsistency and incontinency. I'm not sure what that means. But it basically means, every so often people do, like, in the ancient world, they did go and decide to be off by themselves and just refocus their eye on the spiritual. Anyway, with that, I want to say shalom.